Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for March 20th through 27th, 2023. Well, happy equinox. We made it to the March equinox, a very powerful energy of equal day, equal night, and finding that balance in order to move into a whole new chapter. Spring equinox is the beginning of in the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere is the beginning of the zodiac sign with Aries, the zodiac cycle. So it always represents a new birth. And this year, incredibly powerful energies lining up for this rebirth as we're rebirthing into a completely new age. Because Pluto at the end degrees of Capricorn now, 29 degrees, will move into the sign of Aquarius after being in Capricorn since 2008. So it's interesting because we talk about an energy of a bloom of the energy of the sign, the beginning and the end. And so it's interesting because we're reflecting back to that period of time when Pluto just moved into Capricorn. So, but now Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius, and that's a completely different energy, and we don't even know what in the heck this is going to be, right? But Aquarius is connected to technology, to higher frequency vibrations, to our understanding of who we are as electric beings, as magnetic beings, understanding the power that we have within us and why we haven't been able to access it. Because Aquarius is connected to the last, it seems that Atlantean time was also an Aquarian age because we're looking at the issues of technology and the misuse of technology. So we're facing all of this within ourselves as our inner machinery, our incredibly powerful energetic field, light body that is our birthright as advanced souls in a human body. This is starting to come online. Are you feeling it? And it's the energies right now are just flooding into our world, and there's a powerful quickening happening. We've got this incredible Aries explosion. We've had Jupiter, Chiron, Venus all in Aries together this month, and now we've had Jupiter and Chiron together for the last week exact, or that was actually the second week of March, and now all of that is leading up to this equinox. Now, the equinox is when the sun moves over into Aries. So for this equinox on Monday, March 20th, the sun will be very close to Mercury. Now, Mercury moves over first into Aries, the messenger leading the way, saying, hey, come on, let's do this. And then the sun moving over, and they're going to be very close together with the moon for the Aries new moon that happens on Tuesday, March 21st. So we've got this equinox event, this balance, this perfect balance, this equilibrium, and then boom. It's like, so traditionally the solstices and the equinoxes were celebrated on the next lunation. So the fact that we've got a new moon at 0 degrees, 50 minutes of Aries on the 21st is speaking to this energy of rebirth. It's confirming for us that this is the time that we live in right now, that we are in a Phoenix moment. So we're going to have Mercury, then the sun move over into Aries, and we've still got Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. And so it's a stellium in Aries as of the equinox. So it's amplifying this energy, this vibration of a quest for freedom, complete freedom from all oppression. Now, when we talk about freedom and owning our power, that can mean lots of different things on lots of levels. And Aries is activating, Chiron, Jupiter, and Aries is activating this deep and profound desire to fully and truly live, to fully access the power within, to stop living the lies of the people around us supernova souls are coming online, getting fired up inside. It's not clear what it means or what exactly is happening, but there is a switch being turned on within you. And this is about harmonizing, receiving, um, and allowing this process to happen. We are being given an opportunity here to release all contractual arrangements. Now, we've been talking about this for years, right? Of trying to break contracts, of like where we've been giving our energy away. And I think Supernova Souls have been doing a ton of that work. But what's happened is that another level of this energy, um, that was hidden in our life, is now being revealed. And it's this really strange place. It's an indignant place to be. It's frustrating. It's activating though. But it's this feeling of like, wait a minute. Like I finally let myself trust. And yet again, I'm being pawned by all directions, taken advantage of, not realizing that we've been playing in the completely wrong sandbox. And this is the end of that paradigm. So that Jupiter Chiron, Jupiter expanding the energy of this fight for life force, and just this huge, incredible power growing within, and this desire to access the life within us and manifest a life without us that supports who we really are. You know, this Aries energy is like a lightning bolt activating. It's making me think of a forest fire opening up the pine cones. You know, it's like the energies coming in are just zapping the seed, the star seeds, being like, wake up. It's like, what? I didn't even know I was asleep. I thought I was awake. you know? So this is the process we're in. And so incredibly activating energies. And with Mars now out of retrograde shadow, coming out of the square that it's been in with Mercury, Sun, Neptune. Now Mars is coming to the end degrees of Gemini. And Mars out of retrograde shadow and finally moving again is going to be bringing up Mars issues. It's going to be bringing up the energy that's been suppressed. It's like, and so Gemini represents our communication and our ability to share and express what's inside of ourselves and meet the other person. So there's this huge desire for connection on an intellectual level that has been so long, it's gone unmet within supernova souls. We have to understand that we've been kind of like, oh yeah, there's so much energy and forces that keep us from each other. When you start playing with this healing energy that's within you, when you start really activating this, and if you come into contact with another supernova soul where that's amplified, forces are activated and just it's that vultures coming in to feed. Now, because we're just getting used to this energy and we're learning how to use it again. But what's happening is that the power of this activation is allowing us to reach up and begin to see each other and find each other. And there's an energy going on of like, I know you felt completely alone and isolated, but there might be supernova souls right around the corner that you guys just couldn't meet because of this powerful energy. It's been like repelling us because of we've been believing in the stories from the Atlantean time. Because there's the only thing really that can keep us apart is this belief system that we're too powerful, because one of us is powerful, two of us way more powerful, way more of a target, you know? So this dynamic is starting to fall away. But of course, when those dynamics fall away, you're always going to get a bloom of the energy and the fear and all that. So it's a very, very interesting time where you might have very powerful interactions that you haven't had or been open to, or I mean, just energetically, it hasn't been, pathways have not been clear, and they're starting to open back up. And this is also us grabbing a hold of that life force and grabbing a hold of this energy and breathing the life we want to see right here, right now. Not giving up, not standing down, and establishing this world, this reality, in the strength of our self, our autonomous being. This is Aries wants to be autonomous and sovereign, and not beholden to outside forces. And of course, we're being shown this. We've just had a very intense time with Venus in square to Pluto. Now Venus is in her home sign of Taurus, and she just came out of this square with Pluto right at the end degree. So we're looking at, this is what was bringing up these contractual arrangements around where we've given our intuitive power away. And it's like standing up to the man and saying, hey, it's not yours to have. You must give it back because I know it's mine now. I know it's mine now. So the game is over. We are so close to exiting the game. And it's like one by one, we're like popping out and then popping back in, popping out, getting used to the new energies, getting used to the new way of being. But it's a very exciting time. So I know we're going through it because we've had this huge bloom of Pisces energy, which brings up all the grief. It's like, yeah, I'm finally strong in this area. I can feel myself standing up for myself, but it doesn't mean that there's not sadness and grief at what we're letting go of. Even the unhealthy patterns, the unhealthy relationships, unhealthy contracts still hurt when you let go. And sometimes even more because it's so confusing. And we've just been going through it with this crazy mutable square with Mars finally out of retrograde shadow and then bang in this square with not just Neptune, but the Sun and Mercury there too, like a council being like, Mars, who are you really and what are you really fighting for? Because all this is an illusion. And it's that ego death, the dissolving, the feeling completely lost, alone, free fall. It's all part of this incredible time of rebirth that we're in. So be present with it as much as you can. And now the energy is changing because we've got still Neptune, of course, in Pisces, and Saturn is at the beginning of Pisces. But Saturn's bringing a little different take on the Pisces energy than Neptune, because Saturn is the builder and Saturn is manifest reality. And so it's challenging our reality and spiritual reality and bringing up all of the issues around that. So this is really powerful because we're already starting to feel at the end of the month on the 31st, Mars moves over into Cancer on the 26th, and that's going to be so huge. But this next week here, this week with Mars coming to the end degrees of Gemini, a lot of tension growing around all that's been suppressed within us. It's like finally Mars has his stage and he's at the end degrees of Gemini. And what is he going to say about it? I do feel that this week is a very profound week in seeing a manifestation in our world of the power that's coming back to humanity. So we'll see what that looks like. But after Mars moves into Cancer, or as Mars moves into Cancer, comes into a beautiful trine with Saturn right at the beginning of Pisces. So this is showing us that this is a different energy we're working with here. Mars and Saturn, when they come together, is very powerful because they're both action planets. This is a harmonious energy of action at the very beginning of water signs, and immutable water sign, a cardinal water sign. And so Mars moving into Cancer, it's like, okay, what do we really want to talk about? What do we really want to express? What does our warrior really need to be doing? Identifying, celebrating, growing, loving, the energy of nurturing, our humanness. We must claim it back. So Mars, our warrior, is ready to fight for the feminine as he comes out of this retrograde shadow for the mother. And so our new world that Saturn says something's upside down, topsy-turvy, we're reconciling, because Saturn represents our original timeline and our absconded timeline. And so we're triggering back the original divine timeline here. And that has to do with a worship of the mother. And Mars is stepping up to the plate saying, here's how you do it. The masculine saying, oh, in my strong, stable, solid uh, energy of presence and strength, I will honor of the mother fully and completely so that she may bloom and grow and feed all of us again and again and again. We have, the mother shows us, great mother, manifest as Mother Earth, shows us she is a living being and she is the one leading ascension. This is the biggest mystery. All that gobbledygook out there around ascension is a bunch of bullshit. If you can't come home to mother, and she's asking us to come home. What does this mean? Well, every activation or soul group session we do together, all the classes I teach, always in this basis, this beautiful communication and intimate communion. Now, as we shift our energy and we move in dimensional frequencies, it goes from Mother Earth as of a feeling of like a rock, and we're connecting and we're like kind of a cord. This higher dimensional type of vibrational connection with Mother Earth is electromagnetic. And it's like she's reaching up to hold us, to love us, and to carry us. And our life is buoyant. Now, this is really powerful that Mars is moving into Cancer because um, at this time, with all this other astrology that's going on, Pluto at 29 degrees, going back to that those contractual arrangements that are coming up, where we gave away our power. And when we gave away our power and we made contracts with lower evolved entities that are in control, trying to control humanity, um, we cut ourselves off from source, from the mother, from our ability to receive and feel connected and receive from her bounty of what's available. And this is a really important message coming through for supernova souls, that what if what's been keeping us from really breaking those authority contracts where we've been giving our power away? Because think about it, those authority contracts, just say as an example, they play out in all levels of our life. But a lot of times the most intense ones will play out in our interpersonal relationships. And if you think about it, say that the most intense control-based relationship, it's always around going back. The control can only be there if if you have a need, a physical need of them, like, like your survival or money, or, the only person that'll love you, or all these stories, right? It's like, and so control-based relationships are based on scarcity and lack and need, and that's how control. We can see that the most abusive relationships often happen when one person is in a a state of not being able to take care of themselves for whatever reason. We all go through these periods, and then that situation is ripe for abuse. And so the whole point of this conversation is that our control-based reality is based on not having our needs met. So the natural law of the universe that's been shown to me or to these messages that are coming through for supernova souls is saying that you cannot go break your contracts with authority and be like, no more manipulation, no more sucking on my power, no more all this, and not receive. The law of the universe is that when you come out of control contracts, you're automatically reconnected to source. So this is the deep mystery of Uranus and Taurus, and the North Node now coming to the end of its journey in Taurus, and our self-worth issues being activated. And it's like, well, so you're strong enough to break those contracts, but what's really keeping you from freedom is not feeling worthy of receiving the love of the mother. So we're going to be exploring all this with Mars moving into Cancer. And that'll be powerful because Mars and the North Node will be making a sextile. Mars will be making a sextile to the North Node in Taurus, and then will come into a sextile with Uranus later in its journey. So this is a very magical, powerful activation of this mother love. That's like ultimately from the story we just played out, the ultimate highest authority. And when we're in our sovereignty and authority, we're with her and we're held, we're loved, we're cared for. That's why when in the natural law of the universal laws, as we as humans take back our sovereignty and our autonomy, because now we know we're the highest form of life, or the highest authority is a human soul in a body. You have the body, you have the power. This is the deal breaker, you know? And so, as we take back that autonomy and power, we're all automatically gifted with the abundance that's been kept from us. We know that the control energies have stolen and stolen and stolen again, and from us. And that's got to come back. It's a natural law of the universe. So that means potentially a jubilee financial reset in a positive spiritual abundance. But what if the only thing that's keeping us from really owning that timeline is a feeling like we don't deserve her love? So we're really working through all of this. And I think that's a big part of the journey with Venus taking a retrograde this year. She's going into the darkness to find that inner light, and she's got to meet down with the mother just before that. So that happens on the end of July is when Venus turns retrograde. And that's also when we're going to be feeling the height of Pluto coming into a square with the nodes of the moon. So Pluto and the nodes of the moon is a powerful energy of fate and destiny. And that will be peaking out for the month of July and August. So it's really powerful that it will happen at 29 degrees and at 28 degrees. So this is after Pluto turns retrograde and moves back into Capricorn. And at that point, at 29 degrees, at 28 degrees, will be an exact square with the nodes of the moon as they've just shifted over from Taurus, north node from Taurus to Aries, because they go backwards, and the south node from Scorpio to Libra. So we'll be talking more about this shift of the nodes and this square with Pluto, but just talking about this summer months of Venus retrograde in Leo, conjunctions with Black Moon Lilith, and then Pluto squaring the nodes. And it's the fact that the Venus retrograde is happening at the same time means that the change in destiny and the fate that's coming home has to do with the divine feminine. It's like mama's taken her world back. And you get to be a beautiful part of that celebration and expression. So keep that in mind as you go through these really intense times. We are being prepared. A very powerful message about preparation. And it's interesting because didn't we get that with the Mars retrograde? From the very beginning, we got this Mars retrograde. We started feeling back in October. It's like, what just happened? And so the Mars retrograde, though, was an initiation. So what does it mean for this to come out? Mars is now out of the square, out of shadow, just at the equinox. Exactly. So deep initiation and now the rebirth. And that rebirth means it's about activating the voice, the divine masculine voice that very calmly and confidently says, oh no, we're not going to do it that way. This is what's happening on all levels of our world and all society. It's just like, well, that's just business. That's just how it is. That's just how humans are. That's just how it's like, no, no, not in her world. And this is the reconciliation time has come. So, very powerful energy. So this rebirth equinox on Monday, and the sun moving into Aries, Mercury moving into Aries, for a new moon at 0 degrees 50 minutes Aries. Those two events, the equinox and the new moon in Aries, like pillars, like a portal to step through to this rebirth now that you've gone through your initiation ceremony. This is the ceremony of release and freedom. So I hope you can consider joining the Equinox Soul Group session. It looks like these are going to be the themes, probably some contract breaking and claiming, understanding, looking at shared past life pictures to understand these dynamics, to be able to set ourselves free. So I hope you'll consider joining that or catch the replay if you can't make it live. Very powerful energy, so I'm sure it'll be an intense event and so beautiful when we can come together and use these energies to our advantage in the work we're doing. That's what these sessions are about, is using our energy, connecting with our soul group and being present with the energies to say, all right, what does this mean for us right now? And how can we use these energies to support supernova vision and the ultimate ideal divine timeline that we are here to manifest? And I think that's part of this Mars trine Saturn is manifest, and it is that divine timeline. Saturn in Pisces, it's the Christ consciousness timeline, and Mars in Cancer says, which is really about the mother, because the whole thing of Jesus being a Jew just wasn't true. He was practicing goddess religion from way back, connected to the mysteries of Isis and the Egyptian mysteries. And so those tribes, those Essene tribes, were secretly practicing this worship and love of the mother, and they had to do it in secret. And so what we're going to find is all this that's been cut out of the Bible, the divine feminine and a rebirth, a resurgence of the truths, the mysteries of the divine feminine, um, astrology, geometry, understanding of the interconnectedness of these things in our world and how to work with these mysteries and have them work for us. So, very powerful activation of the Magdalene mysteries with this year of astrology. So after the equinox, at the equinox, we start feeling the energy of that Mars trine Saturn, and that will be exact on the 30th, 31st of March, but we're feeling it all the way through the first week of April. So very powerful time around manifesting our divine timeline into reality. And so it's powerful because it's like, okay, we had our deep initiation, we're having our ceremony, and now right to work, you know. Um, and so there is incredible universal support. Now, also at the end of the month, Mercury will catch up to Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. So we have another Aries explosion. Mercury taking his turn to be with Jupiter and Aries. I mean, Chiron activating this Aries energy again, this fight, this freedom, this now Jupiter has come to 16 degrees and we'll make it to 17 degrees this week. So halfway, and Jupiter will not retrograde back through Aries. This is it. Jupiter's second in the second half of Aries, and this Jupiter, we know it's an expansion into our life force, into our freedom, into our autonomy, our sovereignty, our power. So use this next couple of months wisely, because Jupiter will move over into Taurus in May, bringing a whole different energy. That'll be about expanding our self-worth, our resources, understanding the incredible energetic wealth we have with Uranus there still in Taurus. But for those who are seeking to make big changes in your autonomy, your freedom, getting out of those codependent patterns and relationships, making big moves, making big changes around you, owning it. Supernova souls aren't that good at owning what's theirs. You often give it away, because we're like codependent, because we're trying to make up for Atlantean time. We got to stop this nonsense, right? And this is the energy where you can stand up, take back your power, take back your life. And so if you're wondering about changes that are aligning with that, know that the rest of March and April and May, really, really important in furthering your personal freedom. So really, so after we're going to be kind of ringing in this energy of the Aries new moon and the sun in Aries and Mercury in Aries, and then we're going to move into Venus is going to come into a square with Black Moon Lilith. Venus is in Taurus, her home sign, square with Black Moon Lilith at the beginning degrees of, I'm sorry, not a square with Black Moon Lilith. Um, a, yes, a square with Black Moon Lilith and Leo, sorry. And so this is very powerful because we know that Venus will be making conjunctions with Black Moon Lilith. And so it's the next stage of the journey, right? She's made it to her next stage in this journey of taking her light and her power back. And in this case, it's like, do you deserve it, honey? Are you good enough? When are we going to drop all that bullshit programming of being not worthy of life, of even living, much less having what you need or thriving or living in the abundant truth of who you really are as a spiritual being? The high priestess can no longer beg for crumbs, right? So that's the energy of this. It's like, her poverty consciousness and her low self-worth is keeping her from owning her light and her abundance and her truth. So that square is on the 24th and it just lasts for a few days. And it's interesting because it leads right up to the Mars moving over to Cancer. So it's kind of like Mars is going to take and run with it and be like, all right, honey, we better get our shit together around this. And Mars is ready to roll. Right? He's like, if this is what I got to do, come back in the fold with the goddess and let's do it because I got to get going. It's like, and so we'll just kind of feel that out. But that's the end, the next week and the end of the month is that Venus square Black Moon Lilith, Mercury, Jupiter, Chiron, all coming together and then moving into that exact of Saturn trine Mars trine Saturn. So we're accessing back our life force. We're freeing our mind. Mercury coming to Jupiter and Chiron is about freeing the mind from mind control. And we've got Venus ready to face those shadows so that she can come back and receive the abundance and the light that she is. So incredibly powerful time. And I'm so glad that we're here together. At the end of the month, when that Mars trine Saturn happens, Venus will catch up to Uranus and Taurus. So that's going to be really powerful. Kind of, again, it's like the ringing of the bells, freedom, activation of this higher intuitive power just dripping stardust, a shower of stars coming down and coming into ourselves, into our DNA, reminding us who we are as spiritual beings, setting us free on a cellular level as we breathe and receive and learn to love and live and truly love again. So incredibly powerful times. I hope you'll consider joining the Equinox Soul Group session. That's Monday, the 20th at 10 a.m. If you can't make it live, go catch the replay. And also Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time will be the Aries new moon activation. So we're creating two pillars and a world in between where we hold the energy of what's possible and begin building and landing and anchoring and manifesting the divine timeline through our deeds and love and actions. So I hope to see you at one of those or events or both on the next update. Know we're together, supernovas. We're all going through it. We're all awakening. We're turning into different people, the people we really are. And we got to get out of the way and let that happen. So good work with this last week of intense astrology. And are you ready to rumble? Are you ready to celebrate? Are you ready to roar? Because now is the time for us to take back that voice, that expression, and live in the truth of who we really are. Thank you so much, Supernova Souls. And I look forward to seeing you next time. If you're interested in the Friday update video, you can get that at the Supernova Soul Tribe membership. It's $10 a month. There's also live Q&As each month and lots of resources for Supernova Souls. Also the gold membership, $20 a month. That gets you into the activations and live sharing circles. So really be there, right there in the energy with your Supernova Soul Tribe. So thank you for your support and please consider joining if that resonates with you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then. I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.